Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Taylor. I'm the Technical Marketing Manager for Civil Survey Solutions. Welcome to our live technical webinar for Civil Site Design Project Assist. Now, today you have not only myself presenting, but you've also got my co-presenter today, Andrew Banson. Andrew, hi, how are you going?
Hi, Jonathan. How's it going? Welcome, everyone, to the web session today.
Now, Andrew, I've got a quick poll here, which I thought I'd run, which is very, very simple, just asking who's actually tried Project Assist for civil site design. So are you happy for me to just run that now?
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll just run that now. So simple question, have you tried it? Okay, even if you've just had a bit of a play, it would be interesting to know. At the moment, so far, the good proportion of you haven't. I think we've got one or two that probably have tried it. So this is good. So what we'll do is thank you very much for that. I think everyone answered, which is fantastic. So two of you have tried it and the remainder haven't. So it's kind of good. I'm going to end that poll. So the idea of today is that we're going to answer a couple of questions about, if we get the PowerPoint fired up, what is Project Assist? And then we're going to have a just look at why you might want to use Project Assist. Now, Andrew and I are sort of co-presenting, so this is more of a conversational piece, but we've just got some sort of bullets here. Andrew, I don't know if you want to mention anything about the fact that this is artificial intelligence as opposed to just sort of logic.
Yeah, so at the core, there's a lot of artificial intelligence, and for us, you know, the software development team were really keen to leverage, you know, these new technology, and we have plans to add a lot more artificial intelligence in civil site design. So yes, at the core, there's artificial intelligence, but you know, as you'll see, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, and look, we did actually a couple of weeks ago. I ran a web. In fact, I think it's 3 weeks ago now. I ran a road widening techniques. Sorry, it wasn't road widening. It was string techniques webinar, where I undertook a couple of procedures to create this parking bay, and then at the very end used Project Assist to undertake the same procedure, use the same set of tools, but within a matter of seconds, as opposed to the process of me doing it, which could have taken, you know, maybe up to an hour, if not more. So it's important that, and this is sort of following on to point two, which is this is not kind of smoke and mirrors. This isn't a load of kit that's created which you can't see. Project Assist has been set up so that it will actually create everything for you using all of the tools that you would use. Except you would obviously be operating them manually. It's going ahead and using them extremely quickly. And just following on from that last point to that last point as well, I think it was actually last July, Andrew and I think it was July, Andrew, we presented Project Assist as a webinar in its state of V21.
Work sort of started on it in March, so that even then it was at its early days. So it has certainly come a long way since the beta. Certainly a lot more powerful. And another way to sort of explain why we've done it and whatnot is we have a lot of automation in civil site design, and a lot of that automation is for, you know, land subdivision or whatever. So the beauty of Project Assist is, you know, if you are a designer who does a lot of road reconstruction or string-based design, you know, Project Assist is fantastic for that. And you've got the slide up for me, Jonathan. So
I have.
I'll
Yes.
probably jump the gun there.
No, it's okay. I heard the words and heard the word automation and push forward. But yeah, it's a good way of saying, yeah, everything that you're going to see today, you can actually do as a user. It's just the fact that obviously what we're doing is allowing Project Assist to take a lot of the hard work out of it. I'm just noticing, because there's two of us talking at the moment, what version of AutoCAD does Project Assist work on? Good question. All of them. So sorry, I should rephrase that. Civil site design Project Assist works on all platforms, correct, Andrew?
Yeah, that's right. And we added it in, I think, version 21. So it's now included in the software. But yeah, any platform, BricsCAD, AutoCAD, Civil Site Design Plus, it's included in all those. But just make sure you're on the latest version.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm going to be running Civil 3D version today, and Andrew will be operating on the Civil Site Design Plus version, which will be just to show you how it can operate on the two different platforms. Just whilst we mentioned this, actually, we are running, well, I'm running a beta version of a forthcoming release. So anything that you see which you maybe don't recognize, because there has been some improvements and updates to the forthcoming release, just be aware that you may see some of those things as we go through today. But we're not specifically going to be talking about those there for a later date. So really the focus of today is to educate you, not at an incredibly deep level, because the problem with Project Assist is that, well, not the problem with the software, but the problem is that there's so much stuff to kind of unpack and talk about. Just talking about some of the core stuff alone could take quite a bit of time. So we're going to unpack some of what Project Assist can do whilst running through a set of projects. The key will be to kind of just show you loosely some of the settings and forms, particularly before we even start, just so we can sort of talk through what the setup is. Following that, when we actually start Project Assist, we're going to be looking at a couple of other forms which are really the key part of how Project Assist will work. One is the alignment usage type form, where the AI determines what the alignment type, or as you'll see here, string type, will be created for our particular alignment, and then the workflow manager. Now, it's very difficult to, again, it's very difficult to explain this up front without actually showing you in context to some projects. So the way that Andrew and I are going to work today is we're going to create or work on 3 projects. And Andrew, I think one of the key differences between the version we showed in July last year and now is that you can work on existing projects as opposed to having to start from scratch.
Yeah, well, a big sort of game changer was that you can run Project Assist at any time. Previously, in the beta, you sort of had one opportunity to run it at the start. So now you can run it any time. You might even run it on a job you have you're currently working with.
Yeah, no, that's good. And look, when it comes to everything we're talking about, including working on existing projects or new projects, this morning we published a playlist of quite a number of different videos on our YouTube channel, which talk in depth and unpack in depth all of what we're going to be doing today. So the second project that I'll be working on, there's some road widening options, resheet options. There are 3 videos in this playlist. This is not, this is a screenshot, so I can't scroll through it. But there are 3 videos associated to road widening on that particular project. So particularly when it comes to things like the alignment usage types we just saw here, okay, we can't go through all of them in one web session. So the idea is that they've all been unpacked in a little mini 6-part series for you, building up a project from scratch, which I'll make reference to at the end. So the first project I'll be doing is looking at, this job will actually be starting entirely from scratch. So there'll be nothing on there other than alignments and templates. And this is the key to using Project Assist, is that it uses alignments that you've created and templates that you've created. So in the first instance, I'll be getting Project Assist to help me develop this road and build this road from literally the alignments. So there'll be a center line for both of these 2 roads, and there is custom curb returns and also custom widening out to alignments on all of the roads, which we'll see in context very shortly. Once we've done that, we're going to get Project Assist. Well, first of all, we'll be importing alignments to represent these islands and getting Project Assist to build them into the model for us using Model Builder. Whereas we would normally do this manually. In fact, for those of you that may remember that a few years back, I did a webinar where I actually used Model Builder on this job. Project Assist will do all of that for us, which is going to be extremely exciting to see. Secondly, we'll be then looking at a reconstruction road, building up in 3 phases, putting in a new road with some custom widening. Following that, we'll be then connecting in another road to that, which actually has some widening and some saw cuts. And then following that, we'll then get Project Assist to then put in the parking bays for us. And you can see there a lot has happened in respect of trimming and maintaining elevations and connectivity, etc., all of which Project Assist will do, and we will show you. Following that, Andrew, I'll just hand over to you. I've got these 3 slides for the rural road.
Yes, so towards the end of the session, I'm going to explain the idea of plugins with Project Assist, and we've created a plugin called Australian Rural Road. I actually have a background at council, working for a regional council, so I used to do a lot of rural roads, and so in my example, I'll be showing you this plugin which will automate super elevation, site distance, line marking, table drains, all of that type of stuff. So it shouldn't go too long, but you know, the idea of plugins with Project Assist is pretty exciting for us as well.
Yeah. For those of you that missed it, there's an example of something you may see in civil site design today, which
we are using, well, at least I'm using a beta.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So we'll be able to show some new exciting stuff coming as well.
Yeah, get a sneaky preview of some of the extra bits and pieces. Just following on from a question that we had earlier, the version of or Autodesk platform that this will work on, and BricsCAD version that this will work on, Andrew, would it be it was 2016?
That's right. Yes.
Onwards, and then BricsCAD V21.
V21. Yes.
V21. Yeah. Okay. So anything pre 2016, unfortunately, we won't be able to use. Okay, this project, all of the projects you're going to see today are real projects. This is a customer project provided from us from Queensland. So as far as setup goes, I have alignments that have been created by myself to delineate not only the crown, but also the left edges and right edges for all of the different roads. Okay, there's only two. And then you can see here, we've got an alignment to delineate the outside edge. You'll notice that you can actually see the alignment or the islands, sorry, and the alignments for the roundabouts, but they're not going to be in play. Okay, so really all we're doing is focusing on the roads that we've got in play. I said two, I meant three, and the custom curb returns that are added in here. So as far as the software is concerned, we haven't done anything with this job. We have drawn the alignments. We've got one template, which is this template here, that we're going to be using for the roads. The curb returns are going to be using auto, as you'll see in a second. So as far as setup goes, it's all relatively straightforward. As a process, a manual process, I'd be looking to maybe use auto curb returns, auto road creation, then manually creating the curb returns myself, and then applying design variations to widen the EB codes onto these alignments. I've just had a question coming about how do we access Project Assist. On V22, you'll see this ribbon up here. Okay, so ribbon tab up here. So on V22 onwards, you will see CSD AI, which conveniently is where I'm going to be going now. Before we start, I'm just going to unpack a little bit of the settings. We have a video that is dedicated to the settings on YouTube. So if you have a quick look at that, it's an 8-minute video, but it unpacks all of this in context to how it works with Project Assist. I don't just simply talk through the form. I show you in context how it works with what you're actually going to be producing later. But just a few things for you. First of all, what the software will do is it will look for, by default, or look to assign, sorry, these templates that you can see here to different aspects of your design. And these are from your data folder. So in a second, Project Assist will fire up and it will go, hey, you've got a road here, an urban road. This is the template I expect that you'll probably want to put on there. Okay. Now, in my example, I'm going to change it in a minute, but I'll be using this one instead. So for each job, this is unique, but this just allows you to kind of come in and predefine roughly the templates that you'd be looking to use. The default codes are what Project Assist will look for and then look to manage for you later on. So for example, I might be using a template where I've got the a saw cut, and when the software sees the SAW code, the saw cut being applied, it will determine a number of different things it could do with that particular code. If you don't use saw cut, for example, on a job and you use SW, then go ahead and change that. But these are the default codes it looks for to manage within the job. There are some other tabs in here, but due to time, I'm not going to go into too much depth with them, only because of the fact that we are just really very limited. And the video that we've created for this unpacks this in great detail to show you exactly what this does. Andrew, have you got any comments on that, or I'm happy to proceed, or if you've got anything specific you might want to mention from this?
No, I reckon jump in. And I mean, the only thing I'd say is that video you've got on YouTube that you posted today on the settings is brilliant. It's about 9 minutes and it covers everything in great detail.
Great. Yeah, great. Thank you. Right, let's get started off. So I've got alignments, I've got templates. That's literally all I've got to start with. So I'm going to go Project Assist. Now, this is called the alignment usage form. And again, there's a 6-part video series which explains what this does and then unpacks all of these different types. Now, to make life very simple, what we're going to do is really, for the start of this job, focus on the 2 types for all of these alignments. We're going to ignore the roundabout for the time being, but the reason why I've left that in there will become clear in a second. So it has a look at all of your alignments in your project, and then depending on the naming convention, it then determines what type should be applied. And as you just saw there, I can actually just go and pick a different type and override it. Car park access road, which you can see is being highlighted in the drawing, collector road, which you can see is highlighted in the drawing, and Yeppin road, yes, they're going to become road strings. The alignments that are being used to control the left edges of bitumen and right edges of bitumen on all of them are always going to be set up as road edge connection or string control. You'll find that road edge connection and string control does a multitude of different types, okay? But this is the one we're going to be picking. So for the LEB, the REB, the highlight on this is really helpful as well. So I can actually see where the alignments are. Even things like network strings, curb returns, cul-de-sacs, knuckles, etc. They are always going to be assigned as, sorry, cul-de-sacs and curb returns only. They're always going to be assigned as road edge connections and string controls. The only difference with the roundabout inner and outer is that we're going to assign a different type, and I'm going to cover those when I look at adding the islands later. Let's click confirm. Now, this is basically the first time this is run. So basically the software's gone in and had a look at the different types that I've set up and then determined how everything should be associated. So this is what the workflow manager can do. So car park access road, this is the road over here. It's saying that it's going to turn it into a road and apply a template. All of them are going to have the same template. So as you can see here, I'm overriding that. Underneath, it's then got an alignment that we created for a custom curb return. And it's determined just by this checkbox here that it should be a curb return, okay? And because it's connected to the, or associated to the side road, which is car park access, this is the right place, okay? So any curb return you create is always going to be associated to the side road. Now, you'll notice that only one of the curb returns is being listed before we move on to the next road. And this is because not every time, but sometimes Project Assist might not be able to determine which road it should be connected to, which road the alignment should be connected to. And right at the bottom, you'll always have a list of alignments that are not associated to roads, okay? Now, we know that, for example, this car park, a collector road right here, should be associated to the car park. So what we can do is use this little button here to associate it to that road. So I'm going to click on the button, choose car park access road from the list, click OK. And as we go all the way up to the top here, you can see that I've now got car park, collector road, curb return, right and left, both associated to that road. Further down, we've then got the collector road itself. And obviously the template that we're picking there needs to be roads major collector. We'll be unpacking some of the discussions on thicknesses and resheets in the next job. The LEB and LEB2 alignments, which are basically following along this left side here, the software said, hey, so what would you like to do with these? I can either take the LEB, maintain the crossfall that it is at the moment, so let's say it's -3%, and position it onto an alignment. So it's basically using the match to alignment variation. The second says, hey, what I can do for you is create a string, a profile string on top of that alignment, and you can go in and have the code positioned on that string and control the horizontal and vertical elevation of that particular code. Lastly, you can then actually have the software create a completely independent string. Okay, so it won't be attached with a variation to the design. We're going to just simply use horizontal control and maintain row crossfall, which is pretty much matched to alignment. We're going to do that for the LEB1, LEB2, and further down, you'll notice that it's saying it's creating a separate string. The reason for this, the majority of the time why it's automatically gone for create separate string is because if the geometry of the alignment that you are using, in this case for the right edge of bitumen, varies quite considerably, the software would determine, if you're using cross-section design, that probably using a variation and positioning the code onto the alignment may not work. Okay, so it by default then goes, well, actually, I'd probably recommend a separate string. So in this case, horizontal control and main road control, we can override and say, actually, no, this is what's going to happen. The REB is going to be positioned onto the alignment. So if you do see these yellow markers, they're just basically warnings. They're not overriding you. They're warning you that, you know, the geometry could be a little bit risky. Further down, we've got Yepping Road, and we're going to again apply the major road collector, and we're going to put them both to horizontal. The collector road curb return, as you'll notice here on the Yepping curb return, is not associated to the road. So we need to make sure that it's associated to the collector road, always the side road. And the same goes lastly with the other road here. Sorry, the other alignment here, which is collector road. Now you'll notice that there is one remaining alignment in the job, which is called roundabout inner. In fact, what I might do is just show you now, set alignment types. When you come in here into the alignment usage types and click on the pull down, you'll see nothing. When you say nothing, what you're doing is you're teaching the AI that if it sees that alignment naming type or that alignment name, and this could be an alignment that you've created maybe for to cut cross sections through your job, or maybe it's for a pipeline, so it's not really ever going to be used, you'd probably pick nothing. But if, for example, this will be used later on, I don't pick nothing because that's telling the AI never to use it again. What I do, I'm just going to close this down, is I come in and tell it to ignore. So I'm going to ignore this, so it won't become part of this this build. It's just not going to add it in at all. Okay, that means that Project Assist will try and use it the next time that we run it. Let's now just scroll a little bit further down. If there were no curb returns or custom curb returns created, I could ask the software to apply 10-meter radius values for any that didn't have something there already. Other than that, I can now, we'll talk about the plugins later when Andrew comes to rural roads. I just simply click compute. When you run this, have a look at the settings video, but there's an option which says, when I've done this, run it or create a thread, and it will create a thread which basically will recalculate everything for you if something changes. So we're going to click on build here. This is real time. This is not me doing anything other than just letting the software build, construct variations, curb returns, and put everything together. Whilst it's building, in fact, that's done. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this in. When Project Assist has completed a build, it will generate for you a PDF report of every single step that it has done. So what you're seeing here is all of the work that you as a user would be doing if you were to create this yourself. One of the best things about this is it adds in extra sections for detail. So when you're creating roads initially, you're thinking, well, okay, I'll just set this to 10 meters or 15 meters. And then you have to go in afterwards and start adding extra sections, whereas this does this for you. So you can see here from the 29 steps that have just taken place in a matter of about 20 seconds, it's now built this for me. Really, really recommend, when you run this for the first time or second time, look through what it's done. Okay, it's really important because you want to make sure that you've set it up correctly. You want to make sure that the correct variation, for example, has been applied over the correct chainage range, etc. This is building this for you, but we need to obviously make sure you always have a run through to check it. Let's just see what it's done. What we'll do first of all is just go to the Rows tab, Model Viewer. Time is racing away, so I'm going to have to get through this quickly. Just bring Model View over to one side. And we'll go, I'm not sure why the built model got created, but anyway, that's something inherent from this job. We're just going to go okay. So if we'd started this job from scratch correctly, you would be seeing this. Okay, so this is what Project Assist has just built for us. Got the roads, got the intersections, got the widening. If I right click, display a cross section, we can see here by going to the display tab, and let's just pop in some alignments for collector LEB and collector REB. You can see it's matched up the codes onto those alignments. And if we go open section data, it's taken the LEB, matched it onto the alignment, and taken the REB, matched it onto the alignment. And it's done that for all of them. So as far as just quickly generating content goes and building your row from scratch, that's obviously the first part. The second part is, well, what if I want to add islands? Okay, now the islands are quite extensive, as you can see here. Well, in fact, what we'll do is, first of all, we'll just bring in we'll bring them in as an XML. So rather than having them in the job initially, what I've done is created them as an XML file. And the reason for that, when we looked at the alignment usage form, it would have been quite overwhelming for you guys to see a lot more alignments. So we've basically done this in two parts to kind of reduce the impact. So we've got alignments here for our islands. As you can see here, we've got 6 of them down here. And we've also got, which I'd already had in the job, which is a great way of being able to show you how ignore works, a couple of alignments for the roundabout. So the intention is that these islands will simply become draped profile strings draped onto a surface, and then the roundabout will also need to be draped. Now, let's run it, but there's going to be a small caveat with this. Just saying simply drape onto total model won't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go project assist. You can see the roundabout, outer and inner are still there. They're all being chosen as island and roundabout strings. Okay, the software will know if it's a roundabout as opposed to an island, but they're all getting the same tag. We're going to click on confirm. Even, and this is my bit with this, even if you use Project Assist just to do these islands, just to do islands on projects, it's still a huge time saver as opposed to doing this all via Model Builder. Now, they're not associated to roads, okay, because they're going to be draped onto a surface. When you create a draped profile string, you always determine that there's a surface that it's connected to. So the surface that it will be connected to is this one here. Whoops, BM design model. Now, the software is going to go ahead and use Model Builder and create a model which combines all of the strings that are already in the job, including total model. It's then going to take that model and allow us to drape straight onto it. Once it has draped the islands onto that surface, we've obviously got a model with islands placed on top of it. Well, if I want to see all of that combined, the software will actually go ahead, and this is where I'm just going to sort of flick ahead here down to the bottom. It will create another model which combines the design with the design of the islands. You'll see this happen in a second. This will take a little bit longer than the previous one, but it gives us a chance to unpack maybe the PDF. So sorry, Jonathan.
The reason it'll take a bit longer is that sample rate of 0.1, and those islands are quite long. So
yeah, and in actual fact, sorry, Andrew, go on.
Oh, that was all I wanted to mention.
Yeah, I might speed this up a bit, because this is one single radius. So you imagine every 100 mil around that arc, it will take a bit of time. But for the remainder, I'm going to be putting in every 3 meters for a sample. Okay, which compared to 0.1 is quite a little bit healthier, a little bit quicker. So you can see it's applied a template. Again, we could go in and override the template. It's even determined the direction, which we'll mention in a second. And we'll come further down, and then we'll say, hey, don't ignore the roundabout. You'll notice the outer is not there. And again, this is because the outer is being used to form the edge. So we don't need to add it to the calculation. The software is going to do this for us. What's going to happen is the outer will be draped onto the built model surface. And then the inner will be created as a profile string, and we'll be referencing, well, it'll be referencing a surface in the background, but it will have this template applied. Okay, and we'll have a look at how the vertical design of the inner is calculated for us in a second. We might make that 0.5. Let's click on compute. I'm going to give this a thread. Now, this will take a little bit longer. As Andrew's already pointed out, the sampling can be increased. I mean, to be honest with you, when I've run this with the sampling being around 0.1, it takes about a minute. And you may be thinking, well, a minute to create that many drape strings, yeah, it's not that, well, maybe you are thinking that's incredibly quick. What it's also doing here, whilst it's draping the strings all onto that surface and creating them, adding the template, is it's also using Model Builder to cut all of the centerline and dumb codes out of the model where they overlap on top of these particular strings. So in a minute, what you're going to see is the centerline no longer within this particular model being created or drawn underneath these islands. So this is the part where Model Builder, and using Project Assist and a Model Builder comes into its own. So that's perfectly timed. And as you can see here, we've ended up with approximately 51 steps being taken. So I might just close that down. Let's have a look at what's happened here with the model. I'm actually going to jump straight into Model Viewer. This gives us the best context, particularly when it comes to looking at drape strings, to see what's happened. So here's Total Model. We'll go Toggle Display, and we'll ask it to simply just show the built model here, built model design. So the software went ahead, created a built model, and just said, hey, include Total Model. That's all it's done. Then, once it's done that, it's then used that to drape on the islands, which is this model here. I'm going to click OK. And this is the work that it's done. So for a start, I think this is one of the nasty little islands that I've had to use a Model Builder. The Model Builder is actually, Project Assist has used Model Builder to trim the dumb codes from the curb return and the edge codes from the road to complete that all the way through. And we'll come back to that, what's going on here in a second, including the roundabout. Okay, so the roundabout has been draped around the edge onto that particular surface. And then if we right click over here and open the vertical grading, the inner string has been created. So the inner string, this isn't a template that's coming across here. This is pure modeling that we're seeing here. The inner string, which is called inner here, if we look at auto profile, all of these constraint values have come from the settings, by the way. So have a look at the settings video. Auto profile, I'm going to double click, and you can see here that the roundabout outer, using this reference point entry, I made a big song and dance about using reference point in the string techniques video or webinar a few weeks back. So have a look at that to unpack reference point in a bit more detail. But you can see here the elevations of the inner are being set 3% above the center line of the outer, which is this here. So if I wanted to change that, I could go in and change those values. So we're building you a project which you can now go in and start to work with and manage. The hard work of Model Builder has just been done for you. So the center line of these two roads across this intersection have been cut out. And as you can see here, we've got this really nice smooth transition into the roundabout. One thing that you may not get perfect every single time is you can see here the template that was applied was actually the wrong way around. So instead of curb mountable right, that should have been left. So we're just going to go templates, change that, curb mountable right, not the other way around, auto model, and we're just going to close this down once it's finished. So that auto model is now updating all of the models in the background. So that's the first example. Took a little bit longer than I intended, but we've unpacked a little bit more on this. So you can see how in a matter of minutes, I'm able to build this and start designing. Okay, so the hard work has been done for me with Model Builder. I can start to work with this, knowing that in the background, I've also got threads. If I go thread editor, islands, here we go. So I've got roads only. This is an entire thread to update my design if something changes. And I've got another one here called islands. So I can just compute the thread to rerun it if something changes, which is extremely handy. So that's the first job we wanted to cover. Andrew, have we got any questions just while I'm flicking over to the next project?
Okay, let me just jump in. We had one, can you manually change the string for the crossfall if there are constraints? So yes, you can. I mean, what Project Assist is doing is creating the strings for you. It's setting up the constraints, the design constraints, and it's setting up auto profile entries like the reference point that Jonathan showed. The beauty is everything that's done could have been done manually by you. This is a great thing about this type of automation. There's no sort of black box stuff. No. So if you want to delete entries, override stuff, change stuff, you can. If you look at sort of traditional automation, traditional automation can be a bit constraining. A good example is sort of curb return command, where you know you have to follow certain rules and parameters in order to get it to work. But this is building the project up as if the same way a user would.
Yeah, and in fact, sort of reminded here about the next part of this is if you want to remove something from the model, again, the way the user would. This, I'm just going to take out one of the islands. Now, normally you probably go up to the roads tab and go delete string, and obviously by doing so, you then leave an entry in Model Builder for that string. There could be other consequences because you've then got to tidy up and remove other bits and pieces from your design. Civil site design in the AI tab now has a delete objects option, which, to be fair, you can use just as an independent delete option. And the great thing about this is it does everything. It removes all of the variations, references, model builder entries along with that string. So if I just get, oops, if I go to island 1 here and just remove references, the impact of doing that would be fairly significant. Okay, I've got to remove a drape string entry, etc. Let's just go delete selected. Yes, and it may take it a few seconds to wipe it out. But the idea is that this tool, and there are others in here, other tabs in here where you can actually use to delete, is a great way of removing content, but also removing content when it's been added to models, which is one of the big things. So you can see there, we'll actually get a notification in a second, say it's complete, which it's done, and click close, and that model has now been updated without the island included. Following on from that, I just wanted to show you one other tool which was next to delete objects, which was delete project. So if you want to just get, this is a project that we've sort of semi-started. I've decided, you know what, I want to start from scratch, delete project. Yes, this won't delete your alignments. This will only delete your strings and models. Go, no, I've started from scratch. So the intention was just to show you how those two tools work. So again, this job has had a little bit of work done to it. We've got alignments for the left edges and right edges of both roads. We've actually got one for a saw cut here on this particular road. And then we've also got alignments to delineate the parking bays. We've got a couple of templates, and they are as follows. There's quite a few in this particular job, as you can see. We've got new road, which is the road going in here, which is this straightforward road with a one-way crossfall. And then in addition, we have road reconstruction, or reconstruction road, sorry, which is slightly different, but it's got some saw cuts positioned in it, which will be quite an interesting one to show you for this road. So what we're going to do first of all is to build new road on its own and have the left edge and the right edges managed with those alignments. So very, very similar to the job we just did. I'm going to go project assist. You can see here that all the alignments are offered to us, including the parking bays. Okay, so we're going to ignore the parking bays. We're going to ignore everything that's got recon in it. We're going to look at new road. New road will become a road string. I'm going to be managing the left edge and right edge of that road. So these two alignments will become road edge connection or string control. We're not going to set nothing for the remainder. As I said earlier, what we're going to do is use ignore to ignore those. So new road, we're going to be using the new road template. We scroll down, we can find that here. And further down, we can then tell it what to do with the left edge and the right edge. And again, due to the fact that the geometry on this left edge and right edge is quite varying from the center line, we're going to override the fact that the software is sort of warning us that the string-based design approach could be better. We're going to say horizontal control. We're going to ignore the parking bay, okay, and not have that as part of the design. Same goes with this parking bay here. The recon road, I was tempted to ignore that as well, actually. Yeah, so as I said, we'll ignore all of this. So nothing else is being constructed. So it's just a road with two left edge and a right edge, which is essentially two design variations. Let's click compute, call this road, call this new road, click OK. So that takes a matter of seconds, as you can see there. Road 1, a lot of extra samples have been added in because we've got this varying geometry. Just having a simple 10-meter sample rate isn't going to really cut it. So software's gone and added in a lot of extra sampling for us. As you can see there, it's undertaken those 11 steps. Then we decide, well, actually, I'm now going to build this recon road and connect it in with some curb returns, one of which I thought I had an alignment for, but obviously don't. So we're going to go project assist. Again, we're not going to be clicking on ignore. The one thing we are going to focus on is just what's happening with recon. Sorry, I said we're not going to click on ignore. I mean, choose nothing from the list. Recon, left saw cut and right saw cut, are going to be flagged as saw cut control, and we'll see why in a second. Okay, and this goes back to using the SAW code within my template. The left edge and right edge are again, or edges of bitumen are again going to be road edge connection or string control. Let's click confirm. So we're going to ignore all the parking and we're going to come down to, just uncheck these boxes here. In fact, let's uncheck recon road. Because recon road is the master, ignoring that ignores everything that it associates with it. We're going to choose recon road or reconstruction road from the list for our road. Now, there are, you'll notice, some options here which were not available for new road, namely road widening project and road resheet project. There is a 3-part series which explains using this road how these options work. Okay, road widening will actually add in saw cuts, and as you'll see in a second, in fact, you won't see in a second, I'm not actually going to do it, but road widening will actually add in saw cuts. It will manage the elevations of the left edge and bitumen and the right edge bitumen with strings. Resheet will actually try and maintain a minimum thickness on your road cross section for you whilst maintaining the template slopes. So if you've never seen resheet before in auto profile, that does a little bit of a job of unpacking that for you as well. So well worth having a look at those videos. For the time being, I'm going to come down. I'm going to ignore the parking bay. We're going to add that in later. You'll notice that because we've got saw cut left and right, and we flag them as saw cuts, the software is going to add a variation to control them. If we didn't have the saw cuts in our template, the software would actually go in and add the saw cut as a section for us on our template. Okay, if the alignment existed, but the code on the template didn't. So we're going to say, yeah, okay, manage the elevation of the saw cut with a variation, please, for the right and the left. And then for the widening left and widening right, maybe we want to just use string control. Okay, we're going to create a string for the horizontal and vertical. I'm not simply going to be matching out, maintaining the slope. Maybe I want to set the elevations to a string. Further down, I don't think, here we go. So there's going to be creating an intersection here. We've got 2.8 meters on the south and 2.8 meters on the north, which is what I'm applying here. Nice and simple. Let's click compute. I'm going to give this a name. So again, really important that we read through the PDF to basically understand what it's done. What we're going to do is open up a cross section to have a look at Recon Road. And then we're going to open up the design data form. And in addition, just quickly show you the VGE. Don't think we've got auto profile. No, we don't. Okay. So as far as elevations go for the center line, all that's happened is that the software has just done what it normally does when it creates a road string. It's just interpolated the surface and just popped on a few IPs for us, which we can manage if we want. What's happened with the saw cut, okay, is that the saw cut has been positioned, maintaining that slope, okay, of 2% onto the alignment on the left side and on the right side, hence set code to alignment. So it's maintaining 2%. The LEB and REB are then actually being told to be positioned onto a string that it's created. So there's now a profile string maintaining the elevations or setting the elevations of the left edge of bitumen and the right edge of bitumen. Let's have a quick look at those two, or one of those strings. So I'm just going to click here. So in similar fashion to what's happened with the roundabout on the previous job, we have an auto profile entry being created. And in there, we have a reference point entry. And in there, we have the following. So and again, this is editable. So if you decide, well, the slope isn't right or you need to change it, then this is entirely editable. From the Recon Road centerline, I'd like to set the left edge of bitumen to be 2% from from the centerline. Okay, so the left edge of bitumen and right edge of bitumen are both being controlled with a profile string that is elevated 2% below or above the right edge of, above the centerline. So again, you can start to go in and manage these elevations. You could decide, well, actually, I want to go and sort of tweak or change some of what it's done. You'll notice that it's managed to maintain all of that, even where we've got some widening between the saw cut and the left edge of bitumen, which is extremely handy. So have a look at the three-part set of videos that we've done for that, because we unpack 3 different options, and it's a great way of just seeing how you can use those 3 different options for this particular road. The last thing we're going to do is add the islands. Sorry, the parking even. So this is a really interesting one. Many times I've seen people use design variations and push the parking or the curb out with a design variation onto this alignment, which doesn't work at all when you get to here, and particularly when you look at this job or this particular bay, really doesn't work. So let's see how Project Assist handles it. We're going to go back to the CSDA ribbon, Project Assist. We've got our remaining alignments. Now, if you are connecting or using elevations of a road, which these parking bays will need to tie back in, we make sure that they are called road edge connection or string control. So as far as this webinar is concerned, really at the moment, all we've done is unpacked 1, 2, 3, 4 of the alignment usage types, because the majority of what you do will probably incorporate just those 4, okay? As I said, the video series that we've done unpacks all of these in context, so you can see. So even on the car park video, which I think is part 4, the car park, which connects to a road, is this road edge connection or string control. We're going to click confirm. Now, we checked ignore earlier. The important thing to do is, if these are not roads, okay, is we have to do something similar to what we did with the curb return. Make sure that they are associated to the road they're connecting to. So if these parking bays were just sitting somewhere further down the list, just not associated to roads, we need to make sure that they're associated, as I've just done. I've disassociated that parking bay. Make sure it's associated to new road, meaning that it'll try and connect in the elevations. Click OK. So we've got parking 2. And what we're going to do is say, yes, I want this to be a separate string. I'm not going to be using design variations to form this. I'm going to use a separate string, and I'm going to go parking right, parking bay right. This is just a mountable curb. On the left side, I'm going to use parking bay left. And further down, you can see I've got parking bay left here. The sample rate is up to you. Let's click on compute. Oh, by the way, sorry, before I do that, you can see parking bay 3 is correctly associated to Recon Road, which is what it's connected to. We'll just call this parking and click OK. You don't have to have the thread being named for you, but that's just something I've got set up in the settings for me. So we'll just let that build. As you can see here, the strings are being drawn. You can see the line work for those strings going in on all sides. And once that's finished, we'll then have a look at what it's done, because Model Builder has been employed here. So again, 29 steps there have been taken to build this for us. Let's have a look at this. We'll do is turn on the mesh. Notice there's no islands. And the reason for that is because we're not draping onto another surface. We're simply just connecting the roads to the parking bays. And the only way you can do that is with Model Builder, and it will create this surface for you. Actually, no, we won't go with Model Builder. Sorry, with the mesh. We'll look at it in Model Viewer. It just gives a little bit of context, or better context. Now, conveniently, I've left all of this on from a previous attempt, which is my own fault, but that's okay. What we'll do is we'll just go in and, well, I thought we'll leave it. That's okay. It's great to just show you really what it's done. So it's used Model Builder on both of these roads to cut out the road that was being built all the way through. And by doing so, it's then placed the parking bay or parking bays in and replaced it and then built it together. And again, have a look at the independent string control techniques webinar I did a couple of weeks ago, where I actually put in a parking bay, and then we use Project Assist to actually do this. So the way that the software has calculated the elevations, first of all, of this particular parking bay, if I right click and go vertical grading editor and go, this is the parking bay vertical design. If I go auto profile, it's added a couple of reference point entries for me. And the way it's calculated the start design down here and the end of the design up here is it's used reference point to calculate the slope between the center line and the left edge of bitumen, and then use that elevation and assign it for the start and the end. Okay, so have a look, as I said, at the string code techniques webinar to get more details on that. It's done that with all of them. Okay, there is, and I think since we originally looked at this particular job, Surface Extend, string code Surface Extend is a tool where you could also come in and start to use that to set the elevations of the parking bays. In addition, we've added the line marking here, which I was going to do, but the fact that it's already in there is fine. We've basically used a couple of layers of line marking that have been drawn in the drawing. We're going to go marking setup here by polyline, and we've just used some of the default types to set up some of the line marking that's in here. So look, the intention of this particular project was, yes, it's a whistle-stop tour of what the software is doing. I might just as a final hit thing here, just show you how Model Builder has dealt with the road. I'm going to go up to here and we'll go to Edit, and we go Recon Road. You can see here there's an entry called PA. Okay, PA means Project Assist. It's an editable entry, unlike the total model entries. I right click and go Edit. You can see here that the software has calculated the start chainage and the end chainage, and then said remove everything past the EB code and cut that out for us, and then built it together with the model. Now, I've whittled through that, Andrew. I'm very, very close to end of time. I apologize. Would you like to present your rural road part of the
Look, I mean,
presentation?
I don't think mine will take too long. So let's jump into it.
No problem.
So in this project, I have a number of alignments. I have an alignment that represents the center line of the road. I have some alignments controlling the road edge, which widens around the curve. We have some side roads connecting in, and then an intersection where I've got an alignment representing the existing edge of this highway, and then some alignments that control the curb return geometry. So by running Project Assist from the ribbon, the software will review the alignments and assign an alignment type, which we can change and train the AI if it was incorrect. So we can see the main road alignment is a road string. We have an alignment for the existing road edge, which has been detected, and then some the alignments that control the widening, the curb returns have been set at road edge connection or string control. So once we're happy with that, we just click on confirm, and the workflow manager will appear. So the AI has created this for us, and the idea is that we scroll through and tell the AI how we would like to set up and create this project. So firstly, we have the road string being created. The software has detected that this alignment looks like a rural road, so it's applied a rural template for us. The widening is set up by adding a variation to widen the EB code on the template to this alignment, which we could change if we wanted, but I'm happy with that type. Then we have some curb returns at the intersection. I'm going to tell the software that these are curb returns. Okay, and then we've got the side roads. I'm just going to apply a rural template for those as well. For the existing edge, it'll be created as a mini road running along the alignment, and that's so the intersections conform, so those curb returns conform. So I'm going to introduce you to this plugin called Australian Rural Road Design. So all we do is we click on plugins. When you install Project Assist, it comes with 2 plugins. The other one is Model Trim, which we'll make a video on that at some point. So I just select Australian Rural Road and click on Add Action. So it adds this action to our workflow manager. So what we do here is we pick the road that we want to calculate. So you run a road. I pick the design speed. I'm going to go for, say, 80 km per hour design speed. We then set the maximum super elevation that we would apply, and then we tell the software what we want to calculate. And I'm just going to leave all of that ticked on. So the next step is to click on Compute, and Project Assist will run through and build up the project for us. When it's completed, it'll actually load up Model Viewer because that's where some of the site distance and line marking calculations occur. If you didn't know, when you run Project Assist, you will get this PDF report outputted. The great thing about this is it tells you exactly what it has done. And if you didn't know, Project Assist will build the project up exactly the same way that a user would. So you can see each step that is followed. If you want more information about one of these steps it's taken, you can click on this link here and watch a video. So if you didn't know how to, for example, add a variation to an alignment, click on this video and it will show you. If I get to the end of this report, we'll actually see some of the design styles that it's applied to calculate site distance, etc. So I'm just going to close that down. The next thing I'll do is I'll very quickly apply the aerial imagery to the base surface. I'm going to go image from drawing, just select on that aerial image. And then I'll just run through and show you some of the things that the software's calculated for us. Okay, so firstly you can see the line marking has been calculated. And the line marking has been calculated using the site distance. So if I was to go to the Analysis tab in Model Viewer and click on Site Distance, you'll see that some site tables were created by Project Assist. We can review those by clicking on Manage Tables. So we've got one for the forward direction, one for the reverse direction. So this is fully editable by the user. And we could display the results for those site distance checks simply by ticking on the check boxes here. Right, but it's those site tables that are being used to calculate the line marking. If you want to review that, you click on the line marking tab, click on marking setup, and you'll see the different lane lines that have been added. So line marking calculated at the center line, and we have 2 entries to create the left edge and right edge line marking. If you wanted complete control over the line marking, you can actually explode those, and you do that by running this convert to by alignment, and then you'll have sort of full control over the line marking regions, etc. So that's a quick look at the line marking and the site distance calculations. If I was to say right click and open up a cross section, you'll see that we have super elevation that's been calculated. And if we wanted to review the super elevation or make some changes to it, we go back to the Roads tab, expand out road string, and then down the bottom you'll see super elevation. So I'll just select the road we want to view. So you can see what Project Assist has added in here to create the super elevation. The results get shown in this table, which is fully editable. So if you want to change the crossfall or the widening for any curve or recalculate at a different design speed, this is where you go and do that. The final thing that the plugin has done for us is calculate the table drains. So if I go into the design data form, you'll see that there's this table drain entry. And the way this table drain works is if we are in cut, then the table drain will be put in. But if our road was in fill, then we'll just batter to the surface. So the table drain has a level of intelligence there. So that's a quick look at the new Real Road Design plugin for Project Assist, and we'll aim to create a lot more plugins for Project Assist to help you out with certain tasks. The idea here is the plugin becomes a time saver where you don't have to fill out all this information, create all these tables, etc. The plugin will do all that for you and get you up and running.
Fantastic. Yeah, there was actually a question, Andrew, which you might be able to answer now, which is Marco asking, once you've taught the AI, can the AI be transferred to another computer?
Yes, there are some files that are stored. I guess we could open it up now, Jonathan, if you wanted to, but
yeah, happy to. Yeah, might as well show everyone where it can be accessed. Yeah, so
yeah, so in your common folder, there's a folder called Job Prepper.
Yeah, so this is my common 10, everyone.
Yep. So yeah, and if you just copy that folder, all of that stuff, and brought it into onto the other computer, then that's it's got a lot of the learning data and the AI model that gets used.
Yep, fantastic. Yeah, so guys, I mean, and obviously as you begin to build your personal set of projects with the AI, obviously someone else they'll have their own personal, but as Andrew said, with the councils, if you guys have got a standard naming convention for your alignments, etc., then the idea would be that you could almost have someone run this for a bit and then set up the convention and then share that with the team as new people start. They can go in and obviously access the same setup as everyone else as a base, which is handy. Thanks, Andrew. And do you have anything else to add to that, Andrew, before I?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well, look, folks, as I said at the start, there was a lot to cover, and we're only able to sort of skim the surface on a lot of it. But the idea was that yes, we sort of unpack a little bit of the ambient settings for you, show you some relatively simple projects. They're all user projects as well. With the alignments, they've got some design states where, yep, okay, so there's a road already created there. I'm going to have to go in and create another road, or the requirement is that I've got to have some widening here, or I've got to have a resheet. Really, a lot of the meat of what we wanted to show you was the usage types and workflow manager, because once you understand what that's doing, it can really, it's limitless. I mean, Andrew, for example, when he's shown us some bits and pieces on other projects recently, he's literally showing us through Project Assist. So instinctively, rather than going create road and auto curb return, or going into auto profile, he's letting Project Assist do it for him.
Well, so even just that in variations. I mean, yeah. I find myself now, if I need to add a variation, I just quickly run through Project Assist. It sort of saves that, open the design data form, add the variation, fill out the start end chainage. So in many ways, it's just a different way of interfacing with the software.
Yeah. So look, worth just opening up a job, couple of alignments, maybe 3 alignments, just try something, have a go with it, see how it works out. We have created, as I said earlier, a whole bundle of resources which were only published this morning. So well worth your time. They're not hours and hours long. Well worth your time having a look through these. Okay, there's the road widening, and even the job that Andrew was showing us, the rural road, that has also got its own video, which actually Andrew did. So that's also there to have a look. Don't think we've got any more questions, unless anybody else wants to drop in one very quickly before I sort of put the final slide in. Just while anybody does think of anything they want to ask, next week we've got the Civil 3D Parcels 101 webinar. A lot of people have been asking about that. And then we'll be looking at a civil site design webinar with a roundabout, 5-arm roundabout, where we'll look at unpacking that with string design, and then actually just getting Project Assist to help us with it as well. A lot of our webinars going forward, you may see that we incorporate Project Assist to show you how you can do something manually, and then look at how you can incorporate Project Assist to basically do that building work for you. And then lastly, we've got a to be confirmed Civil 3D webinar on the 16th. So keep your eyes peeled. We've got a brand new subscribe page. If you go here, you can also go and update your preferences on exactly the same page. So go and have a look at that if you want. Thank you very much. Thanks, Andrew. And we will see you all very soon.